So Miami has finally gotten the replacement for Cam Ward, the greatest quarterback in Miami Hurricanes history. And they're bringing in former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. Now, here's my problem with this acquisition. It's not more so that I think Carson Beck is bad. I think Carson Beck is a really solid quarterback, especially considering how dire of a situation the Hurricanes were in when it came to their quarterback room after Cam Ward. We didn't see him play in the second half of the Pop-Tart Bowl. When Emory Williams came in, the game was unwatchable, especially when it came to Miami's offense. He couldn't complete a pass to save his life. You bring in Carson Beck coming off a season where he tossed 28 touchdown passes but had 12 interceptions. And you had a wide receiving core that had hella drops coming to Miami with a better supporting cast, a great offensive line, a good stable of running backs, and Shannon Dawson as his offensive coordinator. You expect him to be pretty productive. But getting Carson Beck isn't going to make Miami a favorite to win the ACC championship, nor is it going to make them a playoff participant next season. I think at best, getting Carson Beck makes Miami a 9-win team at best. And it's not because of Carson Beck not being good, but it's because Miami fans are gassing up how big of an impact Carson Beck is going to have on next year's Miami team because of Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal is not a good head coach. He's mediocre. He's a great recruiter. He's really good at being able to acquire talent, but he does a poor job of being able to coach that talent to its full potential. And with Carson Beck not being nowhere near the talent that's what Cam Ward is, he's not going to be able to elevate Mario Cristobal's poor coaching. Cam Ward, all this past season, carried this team on his back, including Mario Cristobal. He got Mario Cristobal out of some really bad situations, but eventually it came back to show just how competent Mario Cristobal is with how Miami lost against Syracuse, deciding to play it safe, kick the field goal instead of going for it, although your defense played like trash. What about when Miami had to come back from behind against Cal or Virginia Tech? That was because you had such a transcendent quarterback in Cam Ward that you were able to overcome poor coaching. Carson Beck isn't that kind of quarterback. You look at the 25-3 record, but I would attribute that record to how good of a coach Kirby Smart is, because before Carson Beck took over as the starter in Georgia, do you remember who their starting quarterback was that led them to back-to-back national championships? It wasn't a 5 or 4-star guy out of high school. It was a walk-on named Sir Stetson Bennett. If Georgia can win back-to-back national championships with Stetson Bennett, who are you giving most of that credit to? Kirby Smart or Carson Beck for going 25-3? I think we all know what the answer is. Carson Beck is a solid quarterback, but he's not good enough to the level Cam Ward was to be able to overcome Mario Cristobal's lack of good coaching. Yeah, Miami may now become a hotbed for quarterback transfers, but just because you're able to lure in good quarterbacks doesn't mean that they're going to be able to elevate your team to a playoff level or a high enough level to win the conference title when you have such an incompetent head coach that is Mario Cristobal. I don't know why you Miami fans can't see the silver lining with Mario. He's just not a good coach. This dude wasted the greatest quarterback to ever put on the Miami Hurricanes jersey. Cam Ward is a generational quarterback. Guys like Cam Ward don't grow on trees. You don't find somebody who was a 0-star coming out of high school, was FCS Player of the Year for Incarnate Ward, goes to Washington State, balls out at a bigger school against difficult competition, playing in an ACC on Miami. You just don't find that. You just don't. And I don't believe that Carson Beck is going to play good enough to be able to overcome the bad clock management, the bad situational football that we constantly see from Mario Cristobal. Rhett Lashlee, in only 3 seasons at SMU, has led them to their American Conference Championship and the ACC title game and the appearance in the college football playoffs. And yet, we got to keep waiting, 4 or 5 years for Mario Cristobal to do it at a school that has more resources than what SMU has. Rhett Lashley is doing more with less, and Mario Cristobal is doing less with more. Imagine if Rhett Lashley had Cam Ward. He probably would have ended up upsetting Penn State in the first round. Rhett Lashley was the only coach that had Tyler Van Dyke playing good football. He was the only bright spot of Manny Diaz's tenure at Miami. There's a reason why all these former Hurricanes players keep flocking to him. And he keeps elevating them, getting the most out of them because he's a great coach. Mario Cristobal is not. You can say what you want to say about SMU not really playing anybody, but it's like SMU beat the teams they were supposed to beat. Meanwhile, Miami's losing to Syracuse. They're losing to Georgia Tech. So, yeah, SMU didn't play a great schedule, but neither did Miami. Did Miami even beat a single-ranked team this year? No, they didn't. So, it's like, if you're going to discredit SMU for not beating anybody good, then you have to discredit Miami and Mario Cristobal for losing the teams that were nowhere as good as what they were from a talent standpoint. That's why I don't see that Carson Beck is going to be good enough to elevate Miami to an ACC championship or to an appearance in the college football playoffs, because he has to overcome the lackluster coaching that he's going to receive from Mario Cristobal. Y'all make it seem like Mario Cristobal is the one calling the plays. He don't call the plays on the offense. Shannon Dawson does. Miami fans are gassing up Carson Beck. And I hate coming on here sounding like I'm a negative Nancy all the time when I talk about my favorite team. But being a fan of 14 years with this program, it's the same old with these coaches. It's rinse, wash, and repeat. You have a season when you kind of peak, you win 9, 10 games, and right after that, you crash right back down to earth. We've seen it with Al Golden. We've seen it with Mark Richt. We didn't really see it with Manny Diaz, but we're going to see the same thing transpire with Mario Cristobal. I just don't believe in him. When you have to hire somebody to help you manage late-game situations and you're still struggling in late-game situations, it's an indictment on you as a coach. Remember, it came out that Mario Cristobal hired an assistant to help him better manage the clock, better manage late-game situations. And it didn't look like that hire really had any difference. If anything, that dude deserves to get fired because Miami still lost games due to bad clock management and poor understanding of situational football. Unless Carson Beck becomes better than what Cam Ward was or just as good, he's not going to be able to elevate Miami anywhere past the level that they were this past season with Cam Ward.